Today we're going to discuss the basics of first aid. Welcome to Lifeline Aid First Aid Essentials for Mining and Industrial Professionals. In this guide, we'll be covering vital first aid techniques specifically tailored for the mining and industrial sectors. These instructions will equip you with the necessary skills to handle emergencies and enhance workplace safety. Topic: choking. Let's start with choking. This happens when the airway becomes blocked by a foreign object. It typically occurs while eating or when small objects are inhaled. Now, what are the signs and symptoms you should look out for? Difficulty speaking or coughing, trouble breathing. The person may clutch their throat, and you might notice cyanosis, blue lips. If you witness someone choking, here's what you should do. Step 1, give 5 back slaps followed by 5 abdominal thrusts, also known as the Heimlich maneuver. Step 2, if the person remains unresponsive, call emergency services immediately on 108 or 112. Step 3, if the person becomes unconscious, start CPR without delay. Important warning: never slap the back while the person is still coughing, and abdominal thrusts should never be performed on infants. Next topic: bleeding. Now let's move on to bleeding, which can be classified into 2 types, internal and external. We'll first talk about internal bleeding. Internal bleeding occurs when blood loss happens inside the body due to trauma, fractures, or ruptured organs. What are the signs and symptoms of internal bleeding? A weak, rapid pulse, dizziness or fainting, abdominal pain or swelling. Here's what to do if you suspect internal bleeding. Step 1, call emergency services on 108 or 112. Step 2, keep the person still and lay them down with their legs elevated. Step 3, treat the person for shock, if necessary. Important warning: do not give the person anything to eat or drink. Topic: external bleeding. Now, let's talk about external bleeding. This occurs when there's blood loss from a break in the skin caused by cuts, puncture wounds, or abrasions. The signs and symptoms of external bleeding are usually obvious: visible blood loss, pain, and in some cases, shock. Here's what you should do if someone is bleeding externally. Step 1, call emergency services on 108 or 112. Step 2, apply direct pressure to the wound. Step 3, elevate the injured part if it's safe to do so. Step 4, cover the wound with a sterile dressing. Important warning: never remove embedded objects from the wound, as this could make the injury worse. Closing remarks. That concludes the first part of this essential guide on first aid for mining and industrial professionals. Always remember, knowing the right steps during an emergency can make all the difference. Stay prepared and stay safe.